With the Memorial Cup being over and the Saginaw Spirits winning, we see a Canucks prospect coming in huge and scoring the game winner, and McKean drops his top 30 NHL prospects with these two Canucks prospects coming in the top 30. We'll get into this later on this episode, but before I start, I just want to say to the 2,426 of you guys that are subscribed, shout out to you guys. It's awesome to see the channel grow. We're trying to reach our goal of 2,500, so if you haven't subscribed yet, make sure to go down and hit that subscribe button. We'll be all season long giving you prospect videos like this, updates from around the Canucks, from rumors, trades, anything you can think of. So make sure to go down and hit that subscribe button. We'll be all season long giving you updates from around the Canucks. But now let's hop straight into the first topic today, which is Josh Bloom wins it for Saginaw. Now, we did see in the game last night that Saginaw did come back and beat the powerhouse in the London Golden Knights while scoring with 21 seconds left. And of course, Josh Bloom scored the game-winning goal story, and it was just a big moment for a guy like this. Obviously, we touched on Josh Bloom, and we put the video out before the game even started. So seeing Josh Bloom go into the Memorial Cup, scoring 3 points, 1 goal, which was a game winner, assisting on 2 goals, it was just outstanding to see how he's breaking out. Obviously, at 20, this is the last year Bloom can play in the OHL. I won't go into his stats too much, as we did cover him yesterday. If you missed that video, make sure to go check it out. But with Bloom, he played in the AHL this year, couldn't really produce with 1 assist in 14 games. ECHL, he played 8 games, recording only 2 points. Then he got sent down to the OHL for the Saginaw Spirit. Just playing outstanding, 17 goals, 23 assists for 40 points. He was top 10 in scoring on his team with just 34 games played. In 17 playoff games, he put up 11 points, including the game winner in the Memorial last night. And just, Griffin, what's your thoughts on how Bloom has been blooming, if you want to say?
He's been blooming quite nicely, to be honest. He did struggle a little bit with Abbotsford and the ECHL, but going back to Saginaw, where he started his minor hockey career, and being able to go out on the high note that he did, his production was indisputable when he didn't even play a full season and he got over point a game average. That was awesome to see. He put the team on his back during the postseason and on this tournament, especially in the Memorial Cup final. Again, we covered him yesterday, so it was nice to have him hyped up a little bit going into the game. And he shocked us all, where you and I were texting each other, just hyped as hell as to see how he has been able to just put this team on his back and brought them to the Memorial Cup, brought the first Memorial Cup to Saginaw. I know being Canadian boys, we wouldn't have liked to see Saginaw win, but at least it was one of our own prospects who was able to bring the Memorial Cup to Saginaw for them. It's going to be nice to see how he develops even further. He's going to go to Abbotsford and going to have a nice development there, and maybe he makes his way up to the Canucks in the next season or two. Who knows what happens there? There's going to be a lot of competition as far as who from the AHL is going to move up to that Canucks roster later on in the next season. But I think he's developing very nicely, where he has himself in a nice spot where he has the next 1 to 2 seasons to develop with Abbotsford and then make that jump to the NHL.
Yeah, because the biggest thing is, going into this game, we were kind of talking about too how London was a powerhouse led by Easton Cowan, but we've seen Saginaw just come out. They played incredible. Bloom really put the team on his back, like you said, and we did get a quote from him saying, "I've been saying this since I was 16 years old. Saginaw is a hockey town. My last game with the jersey on is a pretty special way to end it." And I mean, scoring the game-winning goal to win the Memorial Cup against a team that looked like they were undefeatable was just a huge moment. Like I said, at the age of 20, he can't play in the OHL. So at the very least, we will see Bloom in the AHL to start the season. Maybe the ECHL if they wanted to give him more just reps in against older competition, but not in the AHL yet. And I do think he's going to put up a fight really to make the Canucks roster out of training camp. But what's your guys' thoughts on Josh Bloom? Did you watch the Memorial Cup? I was actually watching this instead of the Edmonton Oilers game, which I'm sure a lot of Canucks fans might have been doing as well. But with that, let's hop straight into the second topic, which is more prospect talk. Canucks rookies crack top 30. Now, like I said, there was a report that came out of the top 30 NHL prospects by McKean on Twitter. You can check out the full list and his breakdown. But the biggest things, and looking from the bottom, you see Tom Willander cracking number 28 out of every NHL rookie, and you see it number 12, a fan favorite, everyone that's excited for, and someone that me and Griffin are super pumped to see next season is Jonathan Lekkerimäki. Now let's just take a look at Tom Willander before we look at anything else. Tom Willander, of course, is 19 years old, coming from Sweden. Sweden, playing in the Boston University system right now. He was a top 11 pick. He was pick 11 in the 2023 draft in the first round. Obviously, Tom Willander is a defenseman at 6'1", 179 pounds. This is a guy, and you can just kind of pause here and read through on just how he plays this game. You can see the breakdown from Elite Prospects draft guide on the bottom of the screen. But Tom Willander looks like a guy that could crack this Canucks roster in just a couple seasons and bring some much needed right-handed just pressure on this Canucks team. Now, like I said, when you look at Tom Willander at the age of 19, this guy played 38 games for Boston University, putting up 4 goals, 21 assists, 25 points. He was a plus 28 on the season, and this guy had a great just run with Boston University. Obviously, they didn't end up winning any tournaments, but this guy was one of their top players. You can see he played in the World Juniors under 20 for Team Sweden as well. In 7 games, 1 goal, 2 assists, 3 points. He was a plus 9. And like I said, Griffin, this guy is a big-body defenseman that's looking to grow more on North American ice. I think we might see another year of him in Boston University. Maybe we see him make his way up to Abbotsford if they go on a deep playoff run and Boston doesn't. But what's your thoughts on Tom Willander so far?
I think it'll be interesting to see how he develops as well. There's another current Vancouver defenseman who might be our captain, who did have a nice collegiate career for Michigan University, where he was an all-timer for that university, and Tom Willander is showing that production where he could forge himself a nice path there with Boston University before making that leap to the AHL or to the NHL in the next few seasons. Again, if Boston doesn't end up going on a playoff run, maybe he gets that bump up to the AHL and then makes a splash there. We've seen many Abbotsford Canucks players make a splash after being called up from there to make it all the way to the NHL. We saw it happen with Shilovs this year. Maybe we see it happen with Lekkerimäki next year. I think it's exciting to see what these prospects have to offer for Vancouver in the next few years, especially when we're looking at just this offseason alone, the salary cap dilemma that they're in, where they have all these free agents and players that they have to make happy. And in the next few years, a few other contracts are going to be expiring. So having these players in development to fill in those spots where they're making a bigger splash than most other prospects are around the league, I think that shows a lot of hope for Vancouver going forward in the next few years past this current era that we're in.
Yeah, because the big thing with Tom Willander is we're not going to see him make the immediate jump from Boston University straight into the Canucks lineup. But just looking at how he plays, watching a few games from Boston University, he obviously needs to add a tiny bit more physicality to his game. He can start scoring a tiny more. Yes, 25 points is good for a rookie in Boston University. Obviously, we've seen him play in the Swedish Hockey League, the Swedish Junior League, where he put up 25 points. Playing for the World Juniors under 20 team. But seeing this guy just continue to develop his game is going to be big for the Canucks in the future. I'm saying 2 to 3 years from now, we will see him in a Canucks jersey. Maybe he proves me wrong and he comes up next season or halfway through the season after. But it's going to be quite interesting. Now, obviously, a fan favorite and a guy I can't wait to talk about. Jonathan Lekkerimäki sits there at number 12. Jonathan Lekkerimäki, I'm sure you guys are sick of hearing me talk about him. 19 years old, right wing, 5'11", 172 pounds. And if you want to pause and just kind of read the brief summary on him, you can as well. You can also look at all the medals he had. He led the World Juniors in scoring. I believe it was 9 goals or 7 goals during the entire tournament. During his time with Åbro in the Swedish Hockey League as well, he was his team MVP. I watched his games. He was outstanding. This guy is lethal on the power play. And what else do the Canucks need than power play help? Now, when you do look at Lekkerimäki, you can see all the hockey he's played this season. In the SHL for Åbro in the Tier 1 League, he put up 31 points in 46 games, which a lot of people might look at and say, hey, that's not a lot of points. But this is against the top Swedish competition. This is against ex-NHL players, new coming players that might make the NHL, and players that could be in the NHL but want to play in Sweden. You can see for Abbotsford, he put up 2 points in 6 games. World Juniors, 7 goals in 7 games, which was the leader in the entire World Juniors Championship tournament. 10 total points. We've seen them win the silver medal against Team USA during this as well. We've seen Swedish under 20 international junior, 15, and then all for Sweden in the international as well. 1 point in 6 games. This guy is going to be an absolute stud, and I'm willing to bet my house on it. And Griffin, I know you're just excited, so what's your thoughts on Lekkerimäki?
I'm just excited as you are, Mark, where we have been hyping this kid up over and over and over, and us and fans have been wanting to see him in a Vancouver Canucks jersey very, very soon. We thought we might see him in the playoffs this past season, where they were making the calls up to bring up a bunch of AHL players, and he was one of them that was on the morning skates. He was in the practice sheets, and we thought he might get the start in a few of the games. Unfortunately, he didn't. But I think next year he definitely will make the move up to the NHL in a few games, maybe later in the season or in the postseason when they need it. And like we've said, the power play is something that they definitely need to fix. And he is someone who can be that power play solution. He can get things going, he can create opportunities, and he can get the puck in the net. We've went through his resume many, many times where he has a big collection of accolades and medals already at the minor stage and on the world stage. So if he can bring that to the AHL and to the NHL, I think this kid has a very high ceiling and a very interesting way to make his way into the NHL, especially on a team that just molds Swedish talent and makes the best out of them. I think he's in a perfect spot to have that development, especially with Patrik Allvin at the helm of this entire thing and a player's coach like Rick Tocchet. I'm beyond excited to see where this kid goes from here, and I think it's going to be a great season going forward for him.
And another Swedish guy we really haven't talked about and wasn't on this list was DPD, Elias Pettersson, but the defenseman. It's just another piece of Swedish talent that this team has. I know a lot of people are kind of talking about Elias Pettersson, and I'm talking about the current Canucks Elias Pettersson, and saying he didn't really have line mates to help him produce. So why not give Lekkerimäki the chance on the wing with Pettersson? See if the Swedish connection can do anything. Maybe we see a Hendrik and Daniel part 2, minus the fact that they're not twins. But let us know down in the comments what's your thoughts on these two prospects with Lekkerimäki and Willander cracking the top 30. Is there any guys you were hoping to see crack the top 30? Let us know down in the comments. But speaking of comments, let's hop into everyone's favorite topic, which is comment of the day. Comment of the day comes from Kemper the Canucks. We're a huge fan of him on this show. He's a great friend of the show as well. We're soon going to get him on, so keep an eye out for that as well. But he said, in my opinion, Suter is the wrong position. He plays much better at center. And I do think if we see Elias Lindholm not come back to the Canucks, that we will see Suter kind of fill in on this third line. I know he played with Garland and Dakota Joshua as well last season, and that line looked pretty good as well. So maybe we see that again. Anyways, if you enjoyed this episode, make sure to go down and leave a comment. You could be featured on the next episode of Canucks Digest as comment of the day. While you're down there, share this with your friends, leave a like, subscribe. We're trying to reach a goal of 2,500. But I've been your host, Mark, with my co-host Griffin. Take care.